audit report. And here to share that with us is representatives from the mayor auditor. Pass it off to you.
All right. I couldn't try to connect to that screen. I think I might be able to just connect to it. We'll see. These TVs are getting so smart these days. Hold on a second. All right. Well, I wanted to thank Kamara and the board for your time and cooperation in getting this audit done. This presentation is very high level and focused on audit results, key financial information, and governance takeaways. And this is for the period ended December 31st, 2024. Audit results at a glance. It was an unmodified opinion. There were no significant deficiencies or there were no reportable matters either. The main thing here is that you had an unmodified opinion, which means the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. So, you know, we don't give opinions on things like internal control and that kind of thing. We might maybe look at the financial results overall. We used, this audit was performed in accordance with government auditing standards and generally accepted auditing standards. So, a little further, what an unmodified opinion means is financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects. The statements were audited against applicable accounting and auditing standards. The opinion is on the financial statements as a whole. What it does not mean is that there's absolute assurance or guarantee that every issue would be detected. It is not an opinion on the effectiveness of internal controls, and it's not an opinion on future operations, budgets, or policy decisions. So the financial position at year end, 12/31/2024, $5.5 billion in total assets, total liabilities of $322.8 thousand, a net position of $5.18 billion, and available cash of almost 161,000.
Ask a question about that. That 5.5, is that including what we are allocated for SLOSS? Or is that the value of our properties? Where would we get five? How would we come to 5.5?
It does include investment properties.
Okay.
properties represent the majority of reported assets. There is a $500,000 grant receivable and is restricted in accordance with the ARPA funded grant agreement.
Could you just explain the difference? You got available cash of $161,000 and then unrestricted net position of $4,600.
Well, the cash is just your general liquidity.
So then what would an unrestricted net position be?
That's like your equity. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
Can't
if you
see
take your
very
total
well.
assets minus
Sorry.
the debt, yeah.
I need some different glasses. Sorry. That's 4.7 million. Yep, I got you. Thank you.
So the 2024 operating results, statement of activities and governmental funds use, total revenues in 2024 is $873,000. Total expenditures of $587,000. Net change in position, or essentially your net profit, was $283,600. You had a small amount of interest income. But you can see the different, the revenue drivers and the your primary expenditure categories there as well. The bottom line here is your revenues exceed your expenses, which overall increased your net position. Land bank asset stewardship. Property balances are central to the land bank's mission and financial reporting. So these reported land bank assets, investment properties, $4.83 million. Net capital asset there, $3,000. Property values are reported based on the accounting policy for the investment properties. The fiduciary property balances, NSP1 properties, $1.57 million. Restricted investment properties at the 5.48, so the total fiduciary assets are $7.4 million. Equal liabilities are reported because these assets are held for the city for the AHCPD related purposes. Related party grant matters. Key disclosures involving Augusta, Georgia, and restricted grant funding, the city support. I understand that the city basically runs the payroll for the land bank, and the land bank reimburses. Then there was the ARPA funded grant. There was a $1 million grant awarded in 2 installments. At the end of 12/31/2024, 500 had been received and 500 was still outstanding as receivable. There was an amount due to the city. Certain city restricted property sale proceeds are passed through the land bank and remitted to Augusta, Georgia. At the end of 12/31/24, there was remaining property sale payable to Augusta, $35,520. Audit adjustments and report findings. I might have to get my glasses. No, you hit a certain, hit a certain age.
Yeah, I hit it.
So, the opening balances to agree to the prior year audited financial statements. So we had some adjustments that we had to do there to get the financial statements to where they matched the previous audit. The NSP1 and restricted investment property balances, we had to adjust those to fair market value with related fiduciary liabilities. There was some reversal of checks outstanding that were more than 6 months old, where the liabilities were no longer valid. Accruals and reclassifications for payroll, some vendor liabilities, depreciation, and city-related balances. Overall, these adjustments were important to the final financial statements. They did not result in any reported material weaknesses, any significant deficiencies, or non-compliance under the government auditing standards. This in no way says that there were any type of material weaknesses or anything like that. This just says that the audit disclosed no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, but also we have to identify the adjustments made during the audit. So when we go through this is just a process improvement opportunity, really. When you talk about things like closeout procedures, opening balances, fiduciary property values, checks that have hung out there for too long and haven't been cashed. Those are things that you want to go through and adjust off the books so you have a more accurate picture of the financial. Main takeaways for 2025. Maintaining strong property inventory controls, and doing this by regularly reconciling land bank owned, city restricted, NSP1 and AHCPD related property balances. Monitor restricted grant receivable and use, so tracking the collection and eligible use of the remaining 500,000 ARPA funded grant receivable. Document year-end close procedures, resolve the stale checks, payroll accrual issues, any city balances and opening balance tie-outs before audit field work, and then keep the board reporting mission focus, connect financial results to the land bank's goal of returning properties to productive use. So this is most of it. The main thing is, you guys in 2024 did what your mission is. So that's fantastic, and you can see that clearly in the financial results overall. Again, there wasn't anything that stood out as being an issue at all, from an audit perspective. So you guys are doing great.
I have one question.
Yeah.
So, this is the closeout of 2024. We know that on that second item, the monitor restricted grant receivable use, that 500, we're never going to get that $500,000. That $500,000 will be taken out.
Oh, it has been. Okay.
Yes. So that the city has kept that $500,000. So when we do the 2025 audit, how will that show?
So we'll have to make an adjustment for that. Yeah. So it will come off the balance sheet.
Gotcha.
Do we need any kind of document to support that? We never received official word in a written form. Do we need anything from your end to say, hey, this 500,000 will not be coming over?
It would be good if you can get something from the city that says that it's not coming.
Okay. Yeah. If I may ask a second question, it's not pertaining to the same item, but you made adjustments to the city's fair market value for the properties that we hold. Would it be beneficial? It probably would be, so I guess I'm asking the board. Would it be beneficial for us to get those to the city's auditor? Because I don't know if they ever did a fair market value on city assets that we hold on behalf of HC. We have the data. I mean, not so much our audit, but your evaluation.
Get through the exercise, get the documentation, send it in, see what they wanna do, you've done your part.
Because I know in the audit, it just has a total, so I didn't wanna request that without asking the board
But don't we submit our audit to finance,
to finance.
Which is who would probably need that.
which is who,
So leave it as normal and let them take care.
And the good thing about it is, again, Mary Sue is on the board,
Yes.
and she's also the person who's
we're also in our finance.
So just do our normal course of business, don't get the additional
And the
document.
annual audit is coordinated through the finance department.
It's good time.
No, I guess, to that point though, I thought it would be interesting to us, at least we would need, to be able to parse your operations from HCE related operations and pass-through operations. So we can see how land bank is an entity without
So
the management of the housing, the rentals, and things of that nature.
So reduce those assets.
No, not to reduce it, but all of it's in here, but for me to be able to see,
What is actual land bank versus what is land bank and?
correct. Gotcha. So if I were to be able to flow, I'd love to be able to flow through this as the full audit, and then also be able to see, all right, now take out the stuff that you're just holding as a pass-through entity. And how is the land bank on its own 2 feet, operating liabilities and assets and cash flow.
So to the finance committee chair's point, and I guess this could be part of the potential discussion for 25's requests, because I forgot the name of the letter, so show it my way. Would it be possible to do that as an add-on to complete our typical audit, but for the purpose of the board and an executive summary or an executive letter, show just the operation of assets of the land bank alone minus the city's inventory?
Yeah, we can do that.
So then I guess it would be the posture of the board to decide if it wanted to pay for that addition. But it can be done, so.
And to help with that, I could separate the land, I could give you a big master spreadsheet with HGE and land bank properties, and then I can give you a separate one with just land bank properties.
Okay.
With the updated assessed values for what they were in 2025. That would assist in the process.
Yeah, we can create a separate schedule for that. That concludes.
Sure, as part of your audit process, did you review any of the past audits?
Yes.
Is that procedure? Okay. And any formally, I guess, raised deficiencies or items in former letters? Were you able to confirm that those had been previously addressed?
I don't recall seeing anything there of any significance.
Okay.
And the only thing was is that we had to adjust the land bank's financial statements to match the previously audited.
Okay. And then, great job getting through the 24 audit. Now that we're in 26, do we have a schedule or estimate for when 25 audit could be completed?
Well, we're ready to get started on it right away, and I'm sure Mark has some information there for you. We originally did this at around 11,000, and we had 23,000 worth of time in it, which we did not charge additional for, but we think the 2025 audit is going to be more expensive.
Have we gotten a quote for that yet, or we just know that it's coming?
The engagement letter is behind all the audit documents.
Okay.
It's the next item on the agenda.
Okay, all right. I'll take a while. Okay.
Just one other question, but maybe I didn't answer. I'll ask anyway. John and Sean, the largest liability that was identified was the notable capital rise. I know that sold last year, so is that off the books now?
Has been resolved. Satisfied.
2025. Audit engagement. I haven't done this yet, Marvin, you give us a quick
Yeah.
rundown.
So, I mean, it's mostly like similar to the last one, but the main difference is the price. Just what I kind of skimmed for, it's gonna be on page. It's gonna be on page, I think this is 5.
Yeah, and we're ready to get going on the next one.
Okay.
We're,
Yeah, I mean, it is higher, so I just wanted to run that by y'all, but in the interest of keeping our momentum, I do think we should move forward.
Are we required to, sorry, permission to ask a question? Okay. Are we required to procure multiple bids for audit, or is that as an authority, we don't have any procurement requirement?
Now, before we went with Baird, we did look at other companies.
Yeah.
But their prices are like way higher numbers, $20,000.
They're actually were very low, they
Oh,
were
I'm
way
sorry.
lower than y'all.
Earmuffs,
Lessons in negotiation.
Earmuffs.
Okay. I just trying to be transparent. So we did look at.
So,
other companies, but-
based on the procurement that y'all did previously, Baird was competitive and remains competitive based on prior.
Yes.
I would-
Even with the higher prices.
I will say that in the private sector, we're seeing a lot of cost creep on it.
Yeah, a restriction that we run into is because we're a quasi arm of government and there are not a lot of public accounting firms continuing to work with agencies of our nature where you're a blend. So we're restricted some, that does play a part.
I would say that for any organization, continuity is important with the audit, and so you may consider asking your consultant here for a price lock on a multi-year contract, just so that you don't have to go year to year on a re-quoted basis.
and that's pretty standard. Yeah.
For the purpose of pricing, yes, sir. I think we have to make a gauge operationally as an NGO where we fall in the city's budget annually. But it's an operational requirement that we do a third party audit anyway, so the recommendation definitely is received. We gotta do it, but we do try to be weary of where we are in the city's budget for those larger commitments. But I understand the point.
So it's frequent with contracts in the city where, you all may have seen this, where if the funding is not available, you can back out of that.
I would, just for what it's worth, I'm suggesting on one way, just, could you hold this price for the next 3 years? As each year we are able to get approval from the city to proceed, we could then move forward with
However it works.
that. And that way you're not going back and forth every year.
Could we hold last year's price?
I wish that we could.
And so the change in, or the increase in the charge for the audit is based on what you had to do to get it done this year.
It is, and we're in a better place, but it was underbid to start with, for sure.
And how much of it, I guess, of that process was unraveling what had been set up previously?
I'm sorry, say that one
I
more
guess
time.
how much of your process was kind of unraveling something as a new first time client and also.
Yeah, getting an understanding, yeah, I mean, there's some of that, but, a lot of it was, the actual data and details and work through. But that was some of it, and, I anticipate that, while it is going to be more, it's not that 25,000, range kind of thing. I think we can get it done for, somewhere right around 18.
Can I ask a question? So about how long from us potentially signing this engagement letter and getting started, do you think we'll have the 2025 license? Just roughly.
With the momentum that we've got, I think we could probably have it in, we were estimating like a couple of weeks.
Yeah. The engagement letter says August 15th.
So by the end of the year, it's just, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, then you'd be in a good position then, as, 12/31/26.
Yeah.
Procedurally, I don't recall, Chris, who engagement or authorized. All right, entertain a motion to approve the engagement letter.
Can I ask a question, do we wanna suggest a price lock as part of that, or just approve as is?
Well, they haven't had the opportunity to consider that other than the last 2 seconds.
If we were to ask you for a price lock for 3 years as an example,
Yeah.
would you do that? So, make a motion.
I make a motion to approve as is, including a 3-year price lock at this rate.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
So just along with that, be something that we would receive from you, just in writing, just to have a record for, yeah, I'll do an addendum to that. Thank you.
All right, last item for the day, tomorrow is we're going to discuss composition of the finance committee.
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit, but, at the last finance meeting in January, we approved adding Mr. Johnson and Mr. Vassar, who was interim planning director at the time, to the committee. But part of that motion was to get it approved by the full board, and we have no record of doing that part. The minutes don't show a record, the video don't show a record, so we just need to approve introducing that to the full board today, this meeting that's coming up, so we can get it approved.
Motion.
Question on that first, Chris. Our board composition is comprised of specific positions within the county and also individuals outside the county. So would we be authorizing Shabbat Vassar to be in the finance committee, or would we be better served approving the director of planning and development?
I should have, didn't think about it until you just asked, should have made a correction to meeting minutes. Because what it should say is adding the tax commissioner and the director of planning and development, because for those 4 positions, it's a position, not the individual. Those people will change, but when we're dealing with our external members, like Karen and Brian, then we do the individuals. So the point is, John, can I make a motion to, make a correction to the meeting minutes?
So we hadn't been, authorized to be on this committee.
That's right. Sorry. Thank you.
And so
I had some chair.
and the minutes read as such, what were the true words of the meeting? Did we approve Chris and Shabbat, or did we approve the position?
I think it was my name, but I usually write the motion as it's said in the meeting, but I would have to go back.
Or John, is it
Well,
okay?
so
to
the minutes
understand?
are correct, but we just never had it approved by the full board. Is it merely just creating a new motion? Or amending?
The proper would be to, you could either make a motion to amend the original or a motion to rescind that motion and then make a new motion.
Okay.
But I think a motion to amend, as long as there's unanimous consent for the board, would be okay. Because it's not been presented to the full body.
Okay. Then I think it'd be proper to entertain that motion to amend.
Motion to amend.
To name the new member of the finance committee, the tax commissioner, or the director of planning and zoning. Or their designee. No, I guess no, yeah, none of those are those areas.
Motion.
Second.